The traditional financial system has been in place for hundreds of years and provides financial services to people and businesses all over the world. But since blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies came along, a new type of financial system called decentralized finance has risen up. DeFi operates on a system that is not controlled by one person or group. It is based on blockchain technology, which makes it possible for transactions to be handled in a safe, transparent way without the need for a middleman. Centralized finance, or CeFi on the other hand, is a traditional financial system that is run by banks and other financial institutions through a centralized system. In this video, we will explore how DeFi and CeFi are different, how they affect the financial industry, and what their pros and cons are. As a reward, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. DeFi is a decentralized financial system that uses blockchain technology and allows for secure, transparent, and trustless transactions. DeFi also uses smart contracts, which are self-executing code that only executes once the pre-agreed criteria within the smart contract have been met. This allows users to trade, swap assets, and more without someone to approve the transaction, meaning smart contracts get rid of the need for a middleman, like banks and other financial institutions. As a result, this cuts down on transaction fees and makes things run faster. One of the best things about DeFi is that it is accessible by everyone. Anyone with an internet connection can use DeFi platforms no matter where they live or how much money they have. People in countries who don't have access to banks or other financial institutions will benefit the most from this. DeFi also offers loans and other financial services to anyone with an internet connection, no matter what their credit score is or what their financial history is like. Transparency is another good thing about DeFi. All transactions on DeFi platforms are public and can be seen by anyone on the blockchain. This provides a high level of transparency and makes fraud and manipulation less likely. Also, DeFi platforms are decentralized, which means they are not run by a single organization. This makes them hard to censor or interfere with by the government. DeFi platforms get rid of middlemen like banks and other financial institutions. This cuts down on transaction fees and speeds up the process. But DeFi is still in its early stages and it needs to solve a number of problems before it can reach its full potential. Scalability is one of the biggest problems because the current blockchain infrastructure cannot handle the number of transactions needed for mainstream adoption. Another problem is that DeFi is hard to regulate because it works on a trustless system. Now that we know the pros and cons of decentralized finance, let's explore the pros and cons of centralized finance. CeFi is used to describe any centralized financial system that is controlled by a central authority, such as banks and other financial institutions. CeFi is based on trust, with users putting their money in the hands of intermediaries they trust to manage their assets and execute transactions. Stability is one of the best things about CeFi. Central authorities like governments and central banks are a big part of centralized finance and make sure the system stays stable and reliable. However, centralized finance offers loans, savings accounts, insurance, and other financial services only to businesses and individuals that already have a bank account, excluding those who don't. People and businesses have to pay a lot for financial services because intermediaries like banks can charge high fees for their services. Additionally, CeFi being centralized means that the government can interfere at any time. So, which one is better? The DeFi versus CeFi debate doesn't have a clear winner. Both systems have pros and cons, and the best one depends on what each person wants and needs. Centralized financial institutions may be better for people who care about security and customer service. On the other hand, people who value decentralization and accessibility may prefer DeFi. It is important to remember that DeFi and CeFi do not have clear borders. In fact, more and more CeFi institutions are adding DeFi services to what they offer. This hybrid method, called CeDeFi, takes the best parts of both systems and combines them to give users a more complete and flexible financial experience. Both DeFi and CeFi are changing the way money works in their own ways. CeFi has been around for a long time and is well known. On the other hand, DeFi is a new field that is changing quickly and is putting pressure on the traditional financial system. As the world gets more digital and connected, both DeFi and CeFi are likely to continue to play important roles in the future of finance. In conclusion, both DeFi and CeFi have their own positions in the financial system, each with its own pros and cons. DeFi uses a decentralized system which is easy to use, transparent, and has lower transaction fees, but it also has problems with scalability, regulation, and security. CeFi, on the other hand, runs on a centralized system that is regulated and offers stability and security. However, it is vulnerable to fraud, corruption, and government interference. DeFi could shake up the traditional financial system and give people and businesses around the world access to new kinds of financial services. But it is still in early stages and there are some problems that needs to be fixed before it can reach its full potential. In the end, DeFi and CeFi will be successful if they can offer reliable, secure, and easy to use financial services to people and businesses all over the world. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video on DeFi versus CeFi, I am sure you will like this one too.